And this evening, before I hand over, to give you a bit of an intro, so João is an Agile coach with a wealth of experience in the finance, banking, and retail industry. And he would like to share with you his wisdom and experience about health checks and the various ways to identify happiness in teams. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Joel.
Okay, thank you very much, Helen. Thanks everyone for coming tonight. I'd like to share you an experience that I'm having in my organization. As the title says, is about KMM and tools from Microsoft suite of applications, Microsoft 365. And to present that, I will share my screen just a second, just to start present to you what I've brought. But before we get started, I think it's important to say that the system I've created is like an internal system, so it's in my organization, and it doesn't replace the appraisal from Kanban University, although it's like the same idea, the same rationale behind the system, but is an alternative way to measure and to identify maturity levels of your organization. Before we get started, I also would like to introduce a bit more myself. My name is João, as Helen said. I'm from Brazil. I'm Agile Coach. I'm accredited Kanban Trainer as well. For the last 10 years, I've been working as Scrum Master, Kanban Delivery Manager, Agile Coach, developer, coding in Delphi language. It's obsolete right now, but was very important in Brazil back in the days. And today I work for a bank based in Portugal. So this experience is running in there. But how it starts in my organization. My leadership was discussing about the health checks. We had health checks to measure and to bring informations like states of mind from the people, happiness of people, but we didn't have important informations like metrics, like practices we have in Kanban, for example, because we are using Kanban in there. So informations like that we didn't have, and this was impacting on the next steps to evolve our services and our teams. So we were discussing about that. They were very tired because the health checks in that time took around 4 hours to be responded. So a lot of questions. People got tired. Sometimes we had to split in 2 days to respond to the health check. And we had questions like, do you use Jira in your services? Do you have, for example, Confluence to save the data in a repository? So something like that. And it doesn't bring too much information to us. So I was in that room when I started talking about KMM. I had good experiences on the past using KMM in previous organization that I've worked, and we had good results, positive things. So I thought maybe it's time to bring something new. So I told them, what do you think if we go in another way? Maybe we can try something new to get the information you want, like maturity levels, where we are, where we want to go. So they accepted the challenge, and I was very excited because when you're trying to bring something new in traditional organizations, they might create resistance because they are used to work in the same way for decades, and suddenly someone come to our organization and decide, okay, we have to go in another way. But they got excited, they got happy with the decision, and since so I started working on that. So once they were tired about filling Excel sheets manually, too much manual work, I decided to exploring the tools we have in the organization, like Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Lease, Microsoft Power Automate, Power BI, and so forth. So my first step to bring KMM into the organization was creating an assessment. So today we have an assessment containing around 40 questions. Questions like that I'm showing you. I tried to divide in sections. So we have visualize section, we have feedback loop section, just to know if you have cadences in your services. We have fit for purpose sections, culture, and so forth. I will be showing to you. So each questions in this assessment have 5 options to be chosen, like all the time, usually, sometimes, rarely, and never. What does it mean? It means like we have a score being calculated behind the system. But to get this information, to calculate the score system, we have to use another tools like Power Automate. So after responding this assessment, we need to save this data in a table, for example. So for that, we can use the Microsoft list. It's the second tool we can use. So the first one was Microsoft Forms to create an assessment, questions to be responded by the team. For example, we can bring Agile Coach, we can bring Agile Delivery Managers, Product Owners, just to put everyone together and extract the perspectives from the people to understand better. It's not only about quantitative questions, but qualitative questions. Sometimes in assessments, we have to understand deeper the source of satisfaction, the problems they are facing. So it's important to bring people to respond together. After responding the assessment, we have to put this data in a table to analyze further, for example, identifying patterns, identify all the answers, identify the gaps we have to fill, the problems we have to pay more attention to solve, and so forth. So for that, we can use the Microsoft list, the second tool we can use. So, but to get the information from the Microsoft Forms, we have to automate this. So for this, we can use the Microsoft Power Automate. What it means in practical terms. If you had experience being developer on the past, you can understand perfect what I will be saying right now. It's like a platform where we can coding, literally. We can type scripts, we can write codings in a visual mode is easier to understand for everyone. And the Power Automate is not different. Here, we have this structure that I created. So each little box here represents a question in Microsoft Forms. It's in Portuguese because we speak in Portuguese in that organization. But pergunta for example, here means question number 1. And for each questions, we have 5 options to be responded. And this system, in real time, is being calculating the total score. So if we go down here, we know we can see the roles behind the system. So we have the maturity levels from KMM, Oblivious, Team Focus, Customer Driven, and so forth. And regarding the total score we have in the system, we can identify the maturity level. Just after maybe, I think, 2 seconds, we receive the result by email. I've created this automation as well. So here we have an example. It's in Portuguese, but I can translate. Hello, thanks for responding our assessment. We have identified that your maturity level is Team Focus, maturity level number 1, with a total score of 61 points. So now you are able to get the next level using your tools. What it means in practical terms. After responding, we can get the result by email, as I shown you, and we can start using all the materials that support us in this journey, like map of practices from KMM, ECM, evolutionary change model we are using in the organization. Because with ECM, for example, we can identify the culture, the practices, the outcomes. We can extract the practices from the current maturity level observed to implement it in our team to get the next level. And we can identify the desired outcomes, practices, and results. we want in the future. So after receiving this result, we are able to work on that in order to get the next level. So we're talking about Microsoft Forms, okay, to create an assessment with the questions. Questions have to make sense. Questions extracted from KMM, from the map. We have the Microsoft lists to save the responses. We have the Power Automate. I use it to say the Power Automate comes with the magic of the system. So all automation we can do using Power Automate. And we have another important tool that is Microsoft Power BI. So for every result we have responding the assessment, we can visualize it in the Microsoft Power BI. So I've created like a panel, like a dashboard here. We can see, we can choose the services we want to analyze. So we have a lot of services. We run this experiment. And for example, I can choose this team. When I choose the team, we can see the total score, 64 points. It means we are in the team focus maturity level number 1. And for each question, we have the responses. And for each response, for each answer, we have different colors. So if we see this right now, we can see that, okay, in some subjects, in some practices, we have answers like never. So maybe it's time to pay more attention and bring practice from KMM to solve or evolve this area of our services. So this is a practical example. Limiting WIP is a section I've created in assessment. We have this question: WIP limits are respected and changed from time to time. The answer was never. So maybe in this team, working together with them, we can bring practices to limit WIP in the services, like WIP limits by column, by person, by type of tasks. We have a lot of ways to limit WIP, but it's necessary because maybe this team doesn't understand what is the power behind limiting WIP. Our organization today, not only my organization, but most of the organization we have in the market are in team focus maturity level number 1. I was researching a friend of mine did on the past, and 60% of the organization are in maturity level number 1. So they might not don't understand the power of limiting WIP. They don't understand the customer needs. They depend on specific skills from specific peoples. We are heroes in the teams and so forth. So if you want to get the next level, this system is helping and can help you a lot. As I said before, if your organization pay for Microsoft tools, we can definitely create the same system or even better than I did, because it's not difficult. So we can automate everything. We don't need Excel sheets to be filled. The Excel sheets takes a lot of time to fill the sheets, to put informations in there. So everything here was created using Microsoft Power Automate, lists, Microsoft Forms, and Microsoft Power BI. So it's a simple system, is working very, very well. I received feedback from my teammates, and they are loving this new approach. Our leadership is happy as well, because now we have actionable practices to put in the services and get the next level. So we were used to discuss, my team is happy, my team is not happy. So now the discussion has changed, because we have introduced important things like our team is overwhelmed, our team is suffering because there are lots of work to do, and we don't have capacity to do that. So how can we solve this problem? It's not simple solving because as we believe in Kanban is evolution process, is not evolution. So day by day, step by step, we can improve something in order to observe and get better results. So that's what I've brought for today. I think I took just 15 minutes, but it's simple. It's a simple system that can be helpful for you in your daily basis. We can definitely create the system in your organization. It's free once your organization pay for it. And I think is that I don't have any uh, I didn't have difficult to create this, and I hope this could be helpful for you. So, Helen, I think is that just a practical presentation. I didn't prepare any slides for today, so the stage is yours again.
Thank you very much. There is a couple of questions coming in on the chat. Marcello, would you
Okay.
like to ask, or do you want me to just read it out?
I'll just ask it, João, if this form is shareable. I know it's not difficult to create,
Yeah.
but since you've gone to the trouble of creating it, because the form itself is just a template anyway that
Yeah.
you could transport. Is this something you could share back with the rest of the AKT community or the KCP?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I've prepared it
I,
like
yeah, I don't want to
manual
put you in any
to share.
difficult situation because if you've done this on the bank's time,
Hmm.
I don't want Novobank later on coming Marcelo for a license fee.
No, no, no. It's absolutely shareable. I can share with you
That would be
because
great.
our questions from KMM, so there's no secret about that.
That would
Okay,
be
so
that would be great.
I can send to you and I can send to you how to get the results using the tools I've used. So
Beautiful.
I can share with
Beautiful.
you with the community,
Okay.
of
Yeah,
course.
dinner on me the next time I'm in Lisbon.
Oh, yeah. Ah,
Dinner
have
on
you been
me.
in Lisbon? Have you been in
Yeah.
Lisbon before? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get a nice bottle of Madeira.
Good, good Iceland. Uh, great.
Tomo's got his hand up with a question.
Tomo, you are mute, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry about
There
that.
we go.
Um, I had a couple ideas for you. Oh, one of the things that people find confusing about Kanban is there's so much, right? There's all of these rules and these concepts, and especially when they're at the bottom, it's just overwhelming. And making Scrum kind of attractive because it's just 13 pages and it just says do this. One of the things you might consider is not providing, here's all the things you should work on, but here's your next step.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
think the maturity model is nicely layered that way. So it doesn't say, here's how you should put in all the Kanban cadences, right? You can just like step up one level. So it'd be great if your model kind of said, and if you're looking for the next thing to work on, here it is. And
Yeah, good.
the other idea I wanted to plant is that I did a contract for a PhD test developer years ago, and he had the problem that the test was so long that people didn't like it. So he ended up using a Bayesian statistics test generator. Do you know this concept at all? It says
No.
you rate each question on several multiple scales in what it
Okay.
tells you. And so instead of saying, here's your 200 questions, I'll come back in an hour, you pick from your database the question that best hones in on where the user is. So
Mm-hmm.
if they get two or three like super advanced answers, you don't go back to the do you know what a team is, right? You go to and likewise, so you can ask fewer questions and get more specific
More
results.
specific results. Yeah, I
But it
agree.
means you have to rate each question on multiple scales and then do Bayesian statistics. I
Yeah.
just plant that as a seed. It would make this thing into
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah, yeah.
superpower tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your suggestion, Tomo. I
Yeah.
agree.
Thanks,
Not to
Tomo.
add, not, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying thank you. You carry on.
Oh, I was just going to say that not to advertise, but I believe some information that might help do what Tomo says without all the statistics involved
Mm-hmm.
just saying, is access Kanban Plus, and there may be stuff inside of some of the cases that are listed in there that might help you bake some of that stuff into any recommendations that that you
Mm-hmm.
might come up with.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Good.
so I just have this sneaking feeling that
Yeah.
there's stuff about that stuff in there, having been rooting around inside of that stuff. So
Mhm.
just a thing, because not all of us are uber statisticians like someone. Just saying.
It would be
Yeah,
interesting
good.
if the answer was not a number, but a case study, right? A story, a story. You spit out
Sorry.
a story that said, "Read this story. It's got something you need to know."
Good. Thanks, Marcelo.
Tomo, you've got a question coming in on the chat window from, let me see now, was it Nikem? I've probably just butchered that name. I apologize. But feel free if you want to ask, or if you can follow through on the chat, Tomo, and follow up with them
Okay,
about
we
the
have a
request for the tool.
question. We have a question from Helen Meek. Okay, we had the first experience running this experiment 2 months ago. So we are planning to run again 3 months from now. So every 3 months we can run this experiment just to tracking the evolutions and see if everything is going good. So 3 months from now, every 3 months we can run this experiment. Run by the Agile coach or from some person inside the team. It's not hard to run this assessment. So every 3 months, Helen, the answer.
Joel, I've got a question. How have you managed anonymity? Like, are you wanting to know who the teams are? And are you getting the teams to fill out the survey per team or individually?
What it means in practical terms, Helen.
So, when you want people to provide the scores so that you're measuring, are you measuring on the team, or are you collecting the results in per individual? And are you like so where the information's coming from, are you asking like team names? How are you
Yeah,
collecting that, and
yeah,
how open, think about psychological safety, how open people are to and receptive to a
okay.
survey?
Okay, yeah, I think, Helen, the first step is make a secure environment to bring the answers because most people trying to gaslighting the responses because maybe Helen respond this assessment, maybe now you can see the weaknesses of my team. So the first step is
Mm,
creating a safe environment. And we can collect the responses, but put together all the people from the team. For example, I'm used to call the delivery manager, the product owner, and me being as agile coach. So 3 people is enough to respond
okay.
because everyone has a different perspective and we have to
Yeah.
consider all the perspective to respond the questions. But I think the most important thing is create this secure environment just to people coming, relaxing, and okay, it's not a judgment, it's just opportunity to evolve our process or services.
And are you doing that remotely, or are you doing it with them in the
The
same
both,
same
yeah,
space?
the both ways works remotely and in person. So I ran this experiment 2 months ago, as I said, remotely. So I have created a room and we were discussing about the questions.
There's another question coming in from Marco. Marco, would you like to ask it?
The question is this: are you collecting any data along with the answers to the questions? I mean, Office suite is a gold mine of data if you only could extract them.
No,
Well,
what
I
data?
don't know
What
if
data you mean, Marco?
I mean, you could even extract the lead time of some
Yeah, of course.
things.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, if you hack Office, you can pull up any sort of data about throughput, about other
Yeah.
things. I don't know if you have done something about that.
Yeah, for each service, we can instruct and collect metrics like lead time, throughput,
Yeah.
analyzing charts and graphs. We have like CFD, And the purpose, being agile coach in this organization, is ever 2 months or 1 month, if I'm not wrong, we have retrospectives, and it's the time when where we analyze, we comparing metrics from the past with the current metrics, because KMM is not a checklist, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if I extract the practices and put, okay, now I'm limiting WIP, but what are the results we are having
Yeah.
limiting WIP? So the most important
That's
thing
fine.
running this experiment is tracking the practices and the results we are having. I have another. Helen Meek asked, yeah, Helen, actually we use ECM to track the practices. So for each service we run this experiment, we can create an ECM just to track and see is everything going good. So it's our way to track the practice using ECM. We also use coaching reports. So I don't know if we have here KCPs, but if you did KCP classes on the past or you are doing KCP class right now, you know perfectly what I'm saying. We have coaching reports, understand the behaviors from the people and understand the source of dissatisfaction from the people. So for each people, we have a different way to treat them. So coaching reports is being important as well.
Joel, can
Did
I
I?
put you on the spot here and ask another question? Like,
You see, Marcelo
oh,
is asking question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you
it's
mean
really-
metrics.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure when you were asking him about extracting metrics precisely what you were talking about.
Yeah, for
And then
instance,
and
one
then
thing.
and then a little laggy, my brain caught up to where your brain was when you're actually capturing metrics on whether practices themselves are being carried out and their frequency and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, okay. That at
Yeah,
least
but also,
I believe that's what you meant, but if you mean something else, I want you to be more specific.
yeah, metrics on, but also metrics on processes. I mean, one thing, I tell
Tell
you
me more,
what I'm thinking about, because this is
please.
something I happen to find myself in this situation where actually we have discovered that there were folders where
Mhm,
files of a certain type, standard type, were piled up, such as receipts for certain
mhm,
processes and so on. And given that we don't have metrics for those processes, but the receipt is the final point of the process, because there is some external system that is providing a PDF receipt. And in those files, you've got a timestamp, and you can count the files. So
Okay.
actually, you can
Yeah, that's a
you,
very
you can
specific.
you can
Yeah.
get a throughput matrix out of that.
Yeah,
That's what I meant. And
right.
actually, in a filing system, for instance, of an enterprise, you have plenty of these folders where you can extract metrics from.
Yeah, I interpret that as that if you have a policy for processing or handling that receipt, are you performing your diligence in processing that receipt in adherence to that particular policy, and what metrics are around that policy?
Yeah, that could be, or just you can
Well,
just
that's what yeah, I
yeah
mean, you know more about your use case. I'm saying that's what I heard.
yeah.
mhm.
But
But I get you better now.
yeah. But I mean, basically, the basic thing is just to analyze the throughput and understand what's your production capacity, what's your capacity, the capacity of that team, for instance, that is performing that thing. And if you don't have any other means to understand the capacity, you can just count the files. I mean, it might be
Yeah.
tribal, but it works. That's
Yeah, one way to track if your team is doing well is tracking the metrics, right? As I said before, KMM is not a checklist, so It doesn't make sense if I extract the practices from limiting WIP, but we didn't have good results limiting WIP yet. So we can analyze every month, every week if you want, our metrics in order to, okay, now it's working because now we understand the purpose and the power limiting WIP, for example. So I think is the fusion between practice and tracking the results frequently.
So can I introduce Tomo into here because he's patiently waiting with his
Hey,
hand
Yeah,
up.
yeah, Tomo, please.
It occurs to me as we enter the AI age that there might be some wonderful opportunities here. And so let me just go to the WIP limit one. For instance, like how do you tell if they've been adjusting the WIP limit? Well, maybe we could get Jira to tell us, but if I just turn on the meeting minutes for my meetings, and then I take my AI agent and I say, how many times is the WIP limit discussed in the last week? Bing, it'll tell me. Right? We could
Mm-hmm.
come up with these metrics based on conversations, based on communication,
Chat.
based on outputs,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's my idea also to get along to go along with that. That you can, I mean, basically in a Microsoft environment, in a 3x6 environment, you've got plenty of data that are totally unexploited.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah,
capturing
good.
conversations, even more.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm,
definitely.
interesting.
Is there anything else for Joel? Any more questions?
Yeah, Helen asked you another question. Yeah, Helen, I think as I said before, is embryonic project. So I have a lot of improvements to be done in the future, but I can say that if I will be running the second time this same experiment, I have to prepare more people before coming to the room and discussing about the questions because as I said, people were coming concerned and scared. Oh my gosh, Marco and Helen now know about my process. I'm not doing well. I will be sacked. So it's not the purpose. So we have to prepare more people. Hey, come. We will be discussing about the process. We have a lot of improvements here. We have a lot of opportunities to evolve. So don't be scared is part of our process, is part of our evolution. But we have a lot of things to be improved in this system. I have a big backlog to pull cards in my personal Kanban in order to improve the system.
So Joel, you've got a couple of messages coming in the chat. Some appreciations from Helen saying thank you for sharing. Someone else has popped in. Barra's put in, have thought about integrating to Copilot.
Yeah, not yet, but I think it's very interesting. I don't have enough experience with Copilot yet, but yeah, it's a good idea in the future. Yeah, why not? Good.
Thank you. Are we getting to a point of a natural break in the presentation? I think we're about there.
Talk to some of your data analysts at the bank. Joel, they might have help connecting Copilot to Power BI.
Yeah, you have this experience, Marcelo. Can you talk more about the integration about Copilot and Power BI, for example? I don't have enough experience. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, it won't come out of the box, but the fact is that you can connect through MCP Copilot or actually, OpenAI,
Mm-hmm.
to Power BI and chat with the data.
Okay.
But more than likely, someone who does, someone in your data analytics group, talk to whoever your chief data officer is. More than likely, they'll point you
Mm-hmm.
at some machine learning person inside of the bank I know this from, hey, how are we going to leverage this inside the bank? So this was a year and a half ago before I left, but yeah, so those questions were already coming up as to how to leverage
Mm-hmm.
Copilot or some other LLM. But the difference
Mm-hmm.
there is you're also probably going to run into questions of where is this data going? Who is going to see this data? You might have some issues of data privacy, but then again, this is all data that you are collecting inside the bank anyways, so your mileage may vary or kilometers may vary.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. But I would say maybe talk to the chief data officer or someone in that area of the company. Maybe the CTO. Maybe they know
Mm-hmm.
somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe they know somebody. Because they'll probably require an MCP. I remember they had to create one to connect them because
Mm-hmm.
there's no direct connection in between Power BI and Copilot.
I was
Okay.
just going to say, you could probably ask Copilot itself, how would you
It
connect to Power
might.
BI? It'll give you an answer.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, that's true. It's good. Yeah, good thing.
Good.
Thank you, Bara.
Thanks, Bara.
No worries.